was always the Jags.
Always the Jags.
Welcome into Always the Jags. It's your host, King Whale, where we talk about everything Jacksonville, everything Jaguars, everything Duval. Today, we have an interesting thing to discuss. I think I should have put it out a couple of weeks ago. Not a couple of weeks ago, a couple of days ago. But as a lot of people know, George Pickens was traded to the Dallas Cowboys, former Pittsburgh Steeler. And it was kind of unexpected because the Steelers had signed DK Metcalf, traded for DK Metcalf, and then signed him to a pretty nice sized extension. And the thought was that George Pickens and DK Metcalf would perform that 1-2 punch at wide receiver that the Steelers desperately needed. However, I guess the Cowboys also felt like they needed a 1-2 punch at receiver, and George Pickens ended up going to Dallas. And I mean, no matter what, he's probably in a good mood because he's got a better receiver next to him, which will only open more things up for him. And he'll have a better quarterback throwing him the ball no matter what the Steelers quarterback situation ends up being. So he's probably like, yeah, this is hitting on all cylinders for him. Funny thing is, for Jaguars fans, obviously that doesn't mean a whole lot, except for the fact that a certain player used to be on the Dallas Cowboys, and he voiced his opinion on George Pickens going there. So if you look at this video right here, you'll see that during a game, George Pickens, I guess, was upset that Jourdan Lewis was celebrating that he got an interception and decided to yank him down by his face mask. After the play was over, after everything, there was nothing going on. He was just like, I'm going to grab your face mask and yank it down. And it was ridiculous. It was blatantly a foul. I don't know how he didn't get suspended for multiple games for doing that because people have got suspended for less. Maybe he did. I don't know. I haven't really checked the stats on that. But clearly, Jourdan Lewis was not happy. And clearly, he still feels some type of way about it because he tweeted right here that George Pickens being signed to the Steelers is a sign that God wanted him in Jacksonville. And I agree. I think Jacksonville's where he's supposed to be, Jourdan Lewis. I think that was definitely the right call. I love seeing players when they're happy about the decision they made to come to Jacksonville, to come be a Jaguar, celebrate and be a part of the Duval community. And not to mention, it's even more special because Jourdan Lewis is a Detroit native, and he's the same alum as my parents. Both my parents went to Cass Tech High School, just like Jourdan Lewis. I mean, they graduated in like the 70s or 80s. I think 70s and 80s. So a little bit before he graduated there. But from a fellow Cass Tech, at least parental alum, welcome to the Jaguars, Jourdan Lewis. It's good to have you. So for that, yeah, welcome to the Jaguars, Jourdan Lewis. It's good to have you. And if we ever play the Steelers, if we ever play the Cowboys, I don't know if it's coming up next, there's going to be some extra heat on that game. That is going to be a revenge. That is going to be a bloodthirsty vengeance revenge game for Jourdan Lewis if we play them now or in the future or at any point if we see George Pickens again. So I'll definitely will be trying to see that game. Hopefully it'll be home so we can see it in person. And then the only other, I guess there's one other thing to discuss on this episode today, and it's the question that's been taking the internet by storm. I don't understand how we're still discussing it, but we are. And the question is, who would win in a fight, one gorilla versus 100 men? And I'm glad that people are giving props to gorillas. Perhaps we underestimate them. But I don't see how 100 men are losing to a gorilla. It's not going to happen. Now, you can throw in the factors of okay, is it 100 dumb men? Is it 100 really proud men? Do they have to stay and fight? Are they forced to fight? Are some of them going to run away? You have all these parameters for men. With a gorilla, it's just you put it in there and it's going to fight whatever's there, right? But you have all these other parameters for men because there's so much that we think about and things that go into it. But it's at the end of the day, even if the gorilla mows down 50 men before they realize there's no escape and they have to just fight this gorilla, I think even 50 men would be able to take him. Because someone pointed out, yes, the gorilla is 400 to 800 pounds, right? And even if you got to use your bare hands and you can't go for weapons, if 50 men have died to this gorilla, the other men are going to be smart enough to realize we have to work together. We can't do this alone. And any guy that doesn't want to work together is just going to get killed by the gorilla. So at some point, someone's going to take leadership and they're going to follow what he's doing. And they'll grab the arms of the gorilla. And another guy will probably go for the eyes. If each guy grabs an arm, grabs a limb, that's like, it's like the scene in Infinity War when Thanos was fighting all the people. Um, if each one grabs a limb, someone will go for the eyes. Now you got a blind gorilla. That's only like 6 or 7 guys, and the rest of them just keep hitting it, And like I said, even if it's in a forest and there are sticks and branches around, there's no way the men are losing because there are weapons right there. You could make a weapon in the time that it takes. Sure, some men might die. That would be brutal, right? But there's still enough time to make a weapon. And even if men are somehow prohibited from making a weapon, which again, I don't understand how that would even be a thing, it's just not going to happen. And I kind of want to see it happen, like just to test it out. I wouldn't be surprised if it becomes like a TV show or something like that, or like a sketch somewhere. But my official take from the Jacksonville Jaguars fan Kingwell here: one gorilla will not beat 100 men. I'll repeat that again. One gorilla will not beat a hundred men. Maybe if they were all like slow, fat, and stupid, but if we take 100 men out of the whole population of the earth, if at least 25 of them are competent enough to grab a limb and go for the eyes, the men are going to win. So I guess let me know your thoughts about both. One, how do you feel about the DK Metcalf trade to how do you feel about the George Pickens trade to the Cowboys? Was it the right move for the Steelers? 'Cause I was surprised they only got a third. But anyway, was that the right move? And do you want to see Jourdan Lewis play the Cowboys now because of that revenge cycle? And then yeah, who would win? 100 men or one gorilla? Open this up to anybody. Leave your thoughts below. And don't ever forget, it was always the Jags. Not the Gorillas. It was always the Jags.